welcome to the first episode of JPTV. I'm your host, Jeremy Feller. Tonight, we will be interviewing Jon Newton. Well, thanks for joining us today. Why don't you give us a little explanation of your background and tell us what you do?
Well, I currently teach music at Portland State University in Portland, Oregon.
Cool.
This is my 12th year here. I've had a long and checkered career as a musician, and very little that I've done has lasted 12 years. Being married, I have.
Yeah.
And I started out as a player long ago, and then I played violin. And I toured playing bluegrass fiddle a lot for a bunch of years in the 70s. Came back to Portland, built a recording studio business here. Mostly trying to do music for movies and commercials. Had some fair success. Transitioned from that into working for a film company in Portland called Will Vinton Studios, an animation company. I was a music director, and then left there after a few years to just basically become a teacher. Got a master's degree and ended up here.
Excellent.
Lucky break for me.
Yeah.
It's a very nice place to work.
Cool. Please explain to our viewers who might not know exactly what goes into the process. Run us through a typical day
of my life,
of your life
today. The thing about being a teacher is you're basically, you work in a classroom like a regular teacher and so forth. But if you're involved in music, it's more expansive than that. You do teach in a classroom, but oftentimes you're instructing on an instrument or you're giving lessons and so forth. My area of expertise is in production. So it also involves a fair amount of technology, kind of sharing with people the inside stuff about making, producing music, arranging, working with the computer on sheet music and so forth. The classroom part of it is actually somewhat smaller.
Right.
Although that is what they pay me for, so I make sure to not forget to do that.
Right.
But it's a little bit like, when I worked in the studio, we'd get up in the morning and we'd write and produce music for people. There's still a fair amount of that involved now. It's like all these things that I did before kind of are still residual in what I do now. It's a pretty nice situation to be in.
Nice.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty awesome. What's your favorite part of your whole process and good portion of your day?
Well, I love to teach. Teaching is great, and teaching music people is especially great because you don't really have to talk them into liking what you're teaching.
Yeah.
I taught middle school math for a bit, and there you kind of have to convince them to like the subject. That's less true in music. So the teaching part of it is always wonderful. I like working on production on the computer. That's fun too. And I have a family, and that's fun too.
Yeah.
There's parts of it that maybe are a little tedious, but
yeah.
Most of the time it's still fairly creative. I do get to work with people independently of the teaching, do arranging for people and so forth, and it's cool, pretty well rounded. I mean, I get to do a lot of different things.
That's
a lot of variety. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. You'd say it's overall rewarding then?
I would say it's rewarding, sure.
Good.
The thing about music is that it's not an easy career to succeed in.
Right.
It's not a very linear type of career. You kind of do this and then you kind of zigzag around this way and that way, try different things. Some people succeed, other people go into related fields or different fields, but most people who've done music at some point are pretty hardy people because they've had to survive in somewhat challenging experiences.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's always creative, and of course it's always musical, which at the heart of it is the best part. Doing music is never bad.
Yeah.
And to be rewarded for it is even better, so,
Yeah. It's always good to feed your soul with, some good music and then having a nice reward to show for it.
No question about it. Yeah. The side benefits are good too. So,
right on. Okay, so how could anyone interested in your services get a hold of you?
Well, I teach at Portland State University in Portland, Oregon, and you can always reach me through the School of Music at PSU. I'm pretty good with email. I suppose you could probably find me on Facebook, although I'm not sure how.
Okay.
I'm a little old school. But the PSU School of Music everybody there knows who I am and knows where to find me. So
Nice.
no one.
Cool. Any other thoughts or inspirational messages you'd like to give to anybody out there?
Well, if it's to music people, I think probably it would be to not necessarily avoid the idea of being a teacher. When I was a younger person, I always sort of felt like I had to be doing it. I had to be the performer or the arranger, the producer.
Right.
And the truth of it is that teaching is its own reward. But particularly college teaching puts you in a position to do a lot of other stuff. I really didn't understand that.
Right.
I think if I had had a sense of that, I might have come to the idea of teaching in college a lot sooner and then made that my primary headquarters and then kind of branched out from there rather than trying to sort of make it work in the private sector, if that's a place,
Yeah.
and then coming to it so late. I think that if I had to sort of offer some advice, it'd be always consider the possibility of being a teacher. It's very rewarding in itself, and it allows you to do a lot of other stuff. It doesn't prevent you from, pursuing your main goals.
Right.
Right. So
it's pretty awesome. I like that advice.
yeah, it's neat.
Well, cool. Well, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Taking some time.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah.